Lesson 23, creating newsletter columns. You're gonna see this a lot in newspaper articles. You can do the same thing in Microsoft Word. So here I have a document. Say instead of having just one page, I want to separate it into 1, 2, or 3 columns. So I'm just going to click anywhere here in my second section. Go to my page layout tab, which is already open. In my page setup group, I'm going to go to columns. I could have 1, 2, or 3 columns. Let's go with 3. And now I have one column on my left, a column in the middle, and a column on the right. If you look, when I click columns, I have 5 options. One, which I can just, this is the default format. It's just one column, that's the width of the entire page, kind of just like the image that you see. 2 makes 2 columns of equal width, so it's equal side by side. 3 makes 3 columns of equal width. To the left, it creates a very narrow column, if you can kind of see here, and then a wider column to the right, and then right creates a narrow column to the right, and a wider column, a narrow column to the right, and a wider column to the left. So you have different options instead of just doing equal columns. If I would like to change the column width, so I'm just going to have my insertion point somewhere here in the second section. I can go to the page layout tab, which I already have, and in my columns, I'm going to click more columns. And as you can see here, my presets, what I just showed you before, I can do 1, 2, 3 columns. I can do left with a narrow column to the left and a wider one to the right. Right, I can do a narrow column to my right and a wider column to my left, kind of what you see here. So I'm going to go with left. And as I noted before, you can change the column width, which I'm going to change. So for column 1, I'm going to change the width here to 2 inches. And I'm going to change the spacing between columns. So this spacing here is talking about this area in between the columns. I'm going to make it 1 inch. Now I can also have a line in between. So you're going to see a vertical line in between the columns. Better for organization. So I'm going to have this here as well. And if I click OK, I have my skinny column to the left and my wider column to the right. I increase the space in between each column and I have the line in between. So different options with columns. Now besides column width, there's something called a column break, which forces text to flow to the top of the next column. So I'm going to insert that now. So if I go to page layout, I go to columns, I'm going to make this a 2 columns. Alright, so I took away the left and I made it 2. Now, for my column break, it forces text to the other column. So say I want the zebra, instead of starting here because it's a heading, I want to start it right at the top. So I'm going to put my insertion point right to the left of zebra, which it is. And now I'm going to put in a column break, and that's going to push this text starting where my insertion point is all the way to the right. So page layout tab, I don't know why it keeps popping up, page layout tab, page setup group, breaks, and I'm going to select column break. It even tells you what's going to happen when I select. Now zebra gets pushed to the right. Now if I want to, I can also include what's called balancing columns, which balances text in both columns to make it equal. So you can see here, my text, my column to the left ends here, to my right it ends here. So it might be a little bit easier to see, a little more organized if I want the text to end here. So to make it equal, to balance the columns, put my insertion point to the bottom of the left here. Well actually, because I already set a column break, I want to get rid of it, so I can make my columns balanced. So I go to my home tab, go to show and hide my 9 printed characters. You can see I put a column break here. So I want to delete this. And you can see I just deleted my column break. So turn this off. So now if I want to balance my columns, put my insertion point to the right here. I want to make this of equal, just like my column to the left. If I go to page layout tab, breaks, and instead of column, what I'm going to do is put in continuous. This is going to allow me to balance my columns. And it explains it here. When I select continuous, now it's fully balanced, fully equal, a lot easier on the eyes. So basics to columns. You're going to be completing triads and projects, and we'll continue our discussion of columns in class.